Have you noticed that sometimes when you don't have any money, it feels like a trap? It feels like a hole in the ground. It feels like a pit, a bottomless pit, and you can't get out. And the more you climb, the deeper you go. Because that's how it felt to me when I was broke. But I didn't realize that one of the reasons I was broke is because I believed some things that weren't true. Jesus said, if you continue in my words, then are you my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It didn't say the truth shall set you free, it said the truth shall make you free. I believe that any area of your life in which you are not free is an area in which you have not you either don't know or you're not applying truth. And if you want freedom, you have to find out the truth and stop believing a lie. Now, it's hard for us to believe that the things that we believe are lies, because we believe things because they're true. Right? I think, well, I believe this because it's true. But that's not actually how it works. You think you believe it because it's true, but the reality is you think it's true because you believe it. And that's very, very different. And what we have to be willing to do is we have to be so in love with truth that we're willing to examine our ideas to see if they're based on truth or if they're based on a lie. And when we find out they're based on a lie, we need to be willing to let them go. All of this whole idea of certain things you can't say because it triggers people and people get upset because the truth is never afraid of a lie, but a lie has to be afraid of the truth. Because a truth will reveal a lie. It will expose a lie. It'll put a lie on Front Street. But there's nothing a lie can do to the truth except try to silence it before it gets evacuated, before it gets evicted. And so, interesting thing about the truth is the active participant in freedom. I am the active recipient. I have to receive the truth, and then I have to act on that truth. So I'm going to share with you some lies that people believe that keep them broke as a joke. Lie number one, time is money. That is one of the worst financial myths that has ever perpetuated poverty in the history of the world. Time is money. Anybody that says time is money, they're either broke and they believe it, or they're rich and they're a liar, or they've never thought about it. That's the only way. See, if they can get you to believe that time is money, what you will do is you will sell a whole bunch of your time for a little bit of somebody else's money. If you believe that time is money, you will waste a lot of time trying to save a little bit of money. You'll drive 15 miles to save 2 cents a gallon on gas. You'll waste 3 hours in Walmart trudging around this behemoth of a store that should be a town with poor customer service looking for something that you can't find, and when you get it, it's not really good quality anyway because they sell cheap stuff cheap. I mean, good stuff cheap, I'm sorry. That's what they say. Anyway, and so what people do is they try to, the money you're trying to save, if you take the time you're wasting to save that money to figure out how to make more money, then you wouldn't have to care so much about saving 15 cents on a gallon of gas or 32 cents on a loaf of bread. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being frugal. I'm as frugal as I am. I'm keeping it real. But I don't waste time to save money. And one of the things that I've learned in creating wealth is that the most valuable thing you buy with money is not a car, it's not a house, it's not a pair of shoes, it's not an outfit, it's not a wallet, it's not a vehicle, it's not a plane, a train, an automobile, an island, or a mountain. The most valuable thing that you will ever buy with money is you will buy back the rest of your life so you can invest it in the people that you care about the most and the causes that you care about. Like, I can spend time with my family that I used to spend out in the workaday world, raking and scraping, overtime. When I think about the fact that I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to a truck yard and pull the truck into the shop and check the tire pressure in all the tires and check the hydraulics in make sure all the hydraulics were working, and then go and start dumping trash trucks at the landfill, and I would do that for 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 hours a day. It blows my mind because I bought into the lie that time is money. And if you buy into that lie, I promise you, you will be broke. And I can prove to you time's not money. Like, you say, well, no, time's money, Myron, time's money. You gotta hustle up, time's money. No, time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. You intuitively know that even if you don't believe it. What does that mean? Tell you what I'll do. I'll run in there, get one of my checkbooks. I'll write anybody in this room $1 million check, and it will clear. Who would like the check? Oh, everybody would like the check. Okay. Now, we're gonna make one caveat. You have to end your life today. You don't get it. You can have the money, but you have no more time. Now who wants the check? Nobody wants the check. Why? Because you already intuitively know that time is worth more than money, and you don't even know how much time you have left. But even if you only have till tomorrow left, you'd rather have that day than $1 million. Can I get a witness? And so we already intuitively know that time is money. But watch, let's put it on the other side. I mean, time is not money, but let's put it on the other side. Let's say you find out you're going to die. You have a disease that is terminal 100% of the time unless you get the antidote. And it's not covered by insurance, and the antidote's $1 million, and $1 million is all you have. How many are going to spend your last $1 million for that antidote? Right, exactly. Even though you could get hit by a bus the next day. You'd rather take your chances on the time you have left and spend all of your money to buy back some time, but nobody's willing to spend all of their time to get some money. If that's true on a macro level, it has to be true on a micro level. So why don't we start living like time is one of our most valuable resources? So buying into the lie that time is money. So now here's an interesting thing about the relationship between time and money. So here's how we write it. All right, here's what people say. People say time is money. This is a lie. So this is a lie. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, so that's a lie. We know that ain't true. The reality is time is greater than money. Now that's true, but that's not true to its ultimate extreme. The ultimate truth is this: time is infinitely more valuable than money. Now when you understand this, see, when you don't understand this, you waste this to get this. When you do understand this, what you do is you spend as much of this as necessary to get more of this. You say, well, you can't buy time. Sure you can. Sure, you can buy time. You can buy, here's how I buy time. Like, I could mow my yard. I know how to use a lawnmower. I've done it before. It would probably take me 2 hours to mow my yard. Maybe an hour. I don't know, hour and a half. It's not that big of a yard because we have a swimming pool, so it's not that big of a yard. So let's say it'd take me an hour and a half to mow my yard, okay? Let's say I mow my yard once a week. That's an hour and a half a week. That's 6 hours a month that I've mowed my yard. I could clean my pool. Let's say that takes an hour a week. That's 4 hours a month. So now I'm at 10 hours a month. I'm mowing my yard and I'm cleaning my pool. Now I can pay somebody else to do that, and I got my 10 hours a month back. 10 hours a month times 12 months is 120 hours a year that I can spend doing something I'd rather be doing than mowing the grass and cleaning the pool. But I can't just buy my time back. Let's buy my wife's time back too, because like cleaning my house, because I'm messy. I'm keeping it real. Now I know you guys are very, very neat. Like I am messy. I'm a messy joker, right? Right? Where no oxen are, the crib is clean, but there's much increase by the strength of the ox. That's what the scripture says, right? Where no oxen are, the crib is clean. What does that mean? That means if there's no production being done, there's no mess. Right? But when you're getting something done, it's gonna make a mess. The byproduct of productivity is mess. Okay? So, but I can't keep making messes and wait for my wife to come pick them up. So guess what I did? Hired a cleaning lady. So now I bought back her time. So now I bought back her time, I bought back my time, and now she can invest her time in me, I can invest my time in her, and we can stay married for another 38 years. Because we understand that time is infinitely more valuable than money. And so we spend as much money as necessary to buy back the rest of our life. It's so crazy. I'm going to tell you though, because this, like the biggest illustration of this in my life is only flying private. I don't fly on commercial inconvenience airlines. We will inconvenience you at our convenience airlines. You can name all of them that. We'll cancel your flight and you can sleep on the floor in the airport and we won't do anything to fix it. But if you 6 minutes late, we're going to close the door and we can't open it back. Can't open it back. Okay. Can y'all tell I got a little bit of attitude? So if I fly commercial, my consulting rate is $40,000 an hour, which I know some of you are going to think is ridiculous, and that's okay. You're entitled to your opinions. My clients clearly don't think it's ridiculous. So as long as they and I are okay with it, we aight. Okay. So $40,000 an hour. If I'm gonna fly commercial, I have to get to the airport 2 hours early. 2 hours times $40,000, that's $80,000. And then when I'm coming back home, I gotta get there 2 hours again. That's another $80,000. That's $160,000 plus the price of the ticket for being inconvenienced. When they lose my luggage for months. And they cancel my flight and I miss my connecting flight. And I end up not getting to where I've gotta be because they messed up. But when I fly private, it only costs me $11,000 an hour. Now I know that it only costs you, that's way less than $40,000 an hour waiting on somebody to inconvenience my life. How many of y'all tracking? And so I realize that time is more valuable than money, so anytime I can spend some money to get some time, I do it. But I will not waste time to save $15. I'm not gonna do it. I don't wanna waste mental bandwidth. I would rather spend the money to save the time and go live my life. Now, so that's the first lie. The other lie is, that people believe is how am I gonna draw this? Ooh, this is so good. I'm such an artiste. I was until I said that. Pride goeth before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay, so 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. Well, that's dumb. What does that mean? That means if one of the reasons broke people stay broke is because they keep their revenue generation anchored to time. Why is that not a good idea? Let me ask y'all the question. Y'all can tell me why it's not a good idea. Is time something you have in limited supply or unlimited supply? Limited supply. So would you like to make a limited amount of money or an unlimited amount of money? So if you desire to make an unlimited amount of money, why would you anchor the amount of money you make to a limited resource? You have handcuffed yourself to limited income. So instead of doing work for people and charging them by the hour, what would happen in your life? Not my life, I'm already doing this. What would happen in your life if instead of charging people by the hour, you started charging them by the result? Somebody just woke up, didn't I? Wait a minute, I never thought of that before. I know, because nobody ever said, I will produce a result for you if you pay me 10% of what that result is worth. If you pay me 20% of what that result is worth. If you pay me 50% of what that result is worth. Do you understand? There's a gentleman who's one of my affiliates who lives in the country of India, one of the poorest nations in the world. This man makes $8,000 to $10,000 a month as an affiliate selling my stuff. And I'm not paying him for his time. I only pay him when he makes money for me. See, but here's the problem. We've been programmed to be codependent on someone or something our entire lives. And so because we are dependent on our parents when we're growing up, we're dependent on them to take care of us, and we're dependent on the government indoctrination camps, the child prisons, schools, whatever you want to call them, to teach our children. Parents become codependent on schools and then allow schools to take parents' rights from them because, I need them to teach my children. I've got news for you, parents. They have no desire to teach your children. They just have a desire to program them to not believe the stuff you've been teaching them. So we become codependent. And then the children grow up, they grow up and they're taught the whole time they're in the miseducational, misdirectional system. You want to get good grades so you can get a good job. So you can go sell a whole bunch of your time for a little bit of somebody else's money and give 8 hours work for 8 hours pay and keep your income anchored to a limitation your whole life. And then when somebody offers you an opportunity to be free and say, I tell you what, you can get a job selling cars, selling insurance, selling real estate, and every time you make some money for us, we will pay you some of the money you made. You're like, I don't know about that. You know why? Because we've been programmed not to believe in ourselves, but to believe in somebody who doesn't even know us. Not only do they not know us, when your food runs when your refrigerator runs out of food, they ain't gonna lose no sleep. When Tampa Electric turns your lights off, they ain't gonna lose no sleep. I'm not saying they don't care. I'm saying they don't care as much as you care. Because you've been programmed that you can't produce a result. You have to work for somebody who does produce a result, and you have to anchor yourself to them and become codependent on them. So, and I know, it sounds kind of funny because I've got team members working back here, but every one of those team members you see back there is an independent contractor. And they get paid for the results they produce. Why? Because if I'm going to teach it, I might as well live it, right? I can't say one thing with my mouth and do something different with my hand. How many y'all tracking? And so, don't buy the lie. And what happens? So people step out of the employment arena where they've traded their time for money. They step into the entrepreneurial arena, and let's say they become a consultant or they open an agency, and what do? They start selling their time again because they think that's the only way to make money is to sell your time. Now, I do sell my time. I just sell it at such an incredibly high rate that when people pay me, I have one program, I have one coaching program that is $350,000. Now, we've only sold 7 of them so far this year. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Well, but I'm saying that, I really want you to wrap your mind around what I just said. See, what if I was selling my time for $150 an hour or $300 an hour to those same 7 people? Totally different result. Now, Myron, how can you tell somebody, how do you tell somebody that for 8 hours is $350,000? They say, how much is 8 hours? I say, $350,000. That's how I say it. And guess what? They want the result more than they want the money. I'm talking about happy as a lark in the park to pay it. Now, if I'm going to be a person of integrity, then I have to be able to produce a result. I can't just get you to pay me $350,000 or $35,000 or $3,500 or $35 and I can't produce a result for you. But see, here's what I know. I know that I have the ability for the right person to produce a 10x result on that $350,000, and we've done it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's not an exaggeration. And by the way, it seems like, oh my goodness, they're paying you. They got the long end of the stick. So time is not money. An 8 hours work for 8 hours pay doesn't make sense for me. Here's what makes sense to me. I will produce a result for you if you pay me 10% of that result, or if you pay me 20% of that result, or if you pay me 50% of that result, or if you pay me 40% of that result. I came in last night, and I did a repitch for a lady, and I don't know how much money she made yet, but usually when I do that, it's $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. I make 40% of the result I get for them when I do that. I've done repitches where I've gone in and helped people make sales of their own stuff because I'm good at sales. I'll help you make some sales, but you got to pay me 40%. Hey, I'm talking about sales they wouldn't have made. It's found money. They got 60% infinite return on my work. Are y'all tracking? So don't buy this lie, time is money, 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. Okay. You need a degree to be successful. You need a degree for the college to make money. By the way, there was a time in the world when a degree increased your chances of success. That was about 70 years ago. That's not an exaggeration. Because during the industrial age, corporations would pay hardworking employees, they would pay for them to go to college so they could learn how to do management, so they wouldn't have to run the machine anymore. They could run all the people in the factory that ran the machine. In order for them to learn how to do that, they needed to go to college and get a management degree. And so what happened is, because that's what happened for Dad, he would come home and tell his kids, you make sure you study hard and get good grades, so when you graduate from high school, you can go straight to college and you can skip the factory. And so we're still singing that same tired song to our children in 2023, telling them if they go to college, they can be more successful. But the reality is, what the college wants to do is they want to make your child confused about whether they're a boy or a girl. And then, on top of that, they want to convince them that God doesn't exist and that they evolved from a lower life form. And they want to unteach them all the stuff you've taught them your whole life. This is not Myron being an alarmist. I'm just telling you what I've observed. I got a good friend who lives here in Tampa. His daughter went off to college. 1 semester. Grew up in a Christian home, like believed in God, prayed, read the Bible, whole 9 yards, going to church, all that. 1 semester. Came home, told her dad she's an agnostic. That's their mission. 1 semester. I remember my kids used to say, Dad, I want to go to a real college. I don't want to go to a Christian college. You can go to any college you want to if you pay for it. But I ain't going to pay some heathen to unteach you the stuff me and your mom have been teaching you your whole life. Some people won't like the fact that I said heathen, but then when you talk, don't say heathen. You need a degree to make you succeed. You know what you need? You know what you need to be successful? You need a skill. You need a mindset. You need a skill set, like a high-value mindset, a high-value skill set, and a basic tool set. And you can create wealth beyond imagination. I've coached thousands of people. I am not exaggerating. I've coached thousands of people. Do you know the hardest people to teach how to make money? The people who have the highest amount of formal education. It's so hard to teach them how to make money because the miseducational system, misdirectional system punishes you for being wrong. Punishes you for making a mistake. You get grades off for making a mistake. But in real life, you learn by making mistakes. So if you go through life, if you go into a business and you're afraid to make mistakes, what you're afraid to do is you're afraid to grow. You're afraid to learn. You're afraid to develop new skills. I mess stuff up all the time. If you don't believe me, ask them. They'll tell you. They probably won't tell you why I'm around, but when I'm not around, they'll tell you I mess stuff up all the time. I do, but you know what? I just make mistakes and learn from them faster than the average bear. But Dr. Myron, you have a PhD. Yeah, I know, but I don't have an undergraduate degree. Figure that one out. Oh, shucks. You know what I love? You know what I love? I love it when people think there's only one way to do something. Beware of the fool that tries to get you to believe there's only one way to do anything. Okay, anyway, that was free. I'm not even going to charge you extra for that. Okay, here's another lie that keeps people broke. Y'all ready? A penny saved is a penny earned. First of all, let's start with this. A penny is a penny. Okay? A penny saved is not a penny earned. A penny saved is a penny depreciated. And $1 saved is $1 depreciated. And $100 saved is $100 depreciated. And $1,000 saved is $1,000 depreciated. And your money becomes worth at least, this was before we started printing money like it was a game, worth at least 2% less every year you're alive. Every dollar in your pocket today is only going to be worth at most 98 cents a year from now. And you saving money. I wish I thought I'd be saving some money. That must be some kind of out of my mind. See, now, if you take a penny invested, it might be 6 pennies earned. Are y'all tracking? $100 invested might be $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $15, $20 earned. There's a difference between saving and investing. Saving money doesn't make sense. You're saving something that becomes worth less over time. Rich people don't save money, we invest it. Why? We invest it because not only is time not money, but time is infinitely more valuable than money, but time makes money more valuable if it's invested correctly. Here's the cool thing about the relationship between time and money. Time can make money more valuable, and money can make time more valuable. See, what do I mean money can make time more valuable? See, people think that the quality of their life is created by the number of years of experience they have doing a thing. But I submit to you that the quality of your life is determined by the number of experiences you put in those years. If you take one vacation a year and you live for 20 years, you got 20 more vacations. Right? What happens when you become successful enough to take 5 vacations a year? You get to take 100 years worth of vacations in the next 20 years. It's like living an extra 100 years of vacation life. Money makes time more valuable. Now, so things that I do, I'm so hyper aware of the fact that I am expiring. Somebody said to me one time, Myron, why are you so intense? Because I'm dying. That's why. And the difference between me and you is I'm dying and I know it, and you're dying and you think you living. And so I have a level of intensity because, and so like I'll go to a restaurant, I'll order some food. If it's not right, like I'm not gonna eat it. I may not even eat, period. I may wait till I get home to eat. Why? Because today is the only day in my life that I'll have the opportunity to eat this meal. I don't wanna waste it on a bad experience. Now, some people think that's excessive. That's okay. It's excessive for you. For me, settling to me, just settling doesn't make sense. When I can design my life, if I can live a life by design, why would I live a life by default? It doesn't make any sense. So if I'm doing something and the experience is not good, sometimes I'll be playing golf and like my body just will not cooperate with my mind. I don't know if y'all ever have that in sports or not. My mind knows what to do. My body says, I ain't working for you today, bruh. Right? And I am not in the zone. And you know what? I'll say, you know what? I could go practice my guitar right now, and this ain't fun. I know how to play good golf. When I'm playing bad golf, it ain't fun. So you know what I'll do? I'll just say, you know what? I'm done. I played 7 holes. I'm done. I'm not going to keep doing this all day. I'll go practice tomorrow, but I ain't going to just keep doing this. Well, I'm already doing it. No, this thing right here ain't working for this thing right here. I'm going to go do something else with this thing right here. Right? So a penny saved is a penny earned. That's a terrible thing. Ugh, that's so bad. And first of all, when you talk about money, stop talking about pennies. Okay. It's a penny. Okay. Okay, here's another one. All rich people are greedy. There are some greedy rich people. Trust me, I've met some greedy rich people. I mean, I'm talking about greedy and rich. But guess what else I've met? I met some greedy po people. Like greed is not reserved for the rich. Can I get a witness? Right? And some people think that creating more wealth than you need is greedy. Well, that all depends. What's the purpose? What's the objective? I think only making enough money to, what do people say? How much money? Just enough to be comfortable. I think just wanting to make enough money to be comfortable is selfish. I want to make enough money to make somebody else comfortable. I want to make enough money to feed some orphans around the world. I want to make enough money to support some widows. I want to make enough money that if somebody in my family needs help, I don't have to say, well, I'll pray for you. Well, I will pray for you, but I want to be able to do more than just pray for you. I want to be able to put some feet to my prayers. And see, the reality is we got all this weird stuff going on. Oh, rich people are greedy, and I'm not that greedy. I don't want to make that much money. I'm not that greedy. Somebody really close to me said that to me one time, kind of in a snooty way. How much money do you want to make, Myron? I said, as much as I can. Surely you can't mean that. Surely I do. Now, if you say it, you might not mean it, but if something come out of my mouth, you can take it to the bank. I mean every syllable that came out of my mouth. I said, why? How much money do you want to make? Oh, not that much. I'm not that greedy. Oh, really? That's interesting. How smart do you want your children to be? Just smart enough to be comfortable? How long you want to live? Just long enough to be comfortable? How healthy do you want to be? Oh, not that healthy, just healthy enough to be comfortable. We don't say that about anything else in our life, but when it comes to money, we feel like we have to apologize for the fact that we have a desire to have abundance in money, like we have a desire to have abundance in health, or an abundance in wisdom, or an abundance in knowledge, or an abundance in great experiences. But now when I say I want to have an abundance of money, now I got to make an excuse for it because I don't want you to think I'm a bad person. Think what you got to think, baby. I want to make as much money as I can. Yes, lawfully, legally, morally, ethically, but that's a given. No, I want to be as healthy as I can, lawfully, legally, morally, ethically. Nobody, it's like there's this stigma that we have to defend why. If I tell somebody how much money I want to make, I have to defend it by, well, I just want to give back. I don't ever give back. I don't ever give back. I give. But the people I'm giving to didn't give nothing to me. I ain't giving it back. I'm just giving. It's like we use this term give back, like you owe society a debt because you're wealthy. Society owes themselves a debt because they're alive and made in the image of God. And they're focused on distractions and ignoring intention and then wanting somebody else to come along and fix their problems. Is that too tough? But I'm not saying don't have sympathy on people. I have sympathy on people. Like if I see a homeless person and I have some money on me and I have time and it doesn't look like a setup. No, I'm driving down the road, this dude standing over there. Yeah, I'll give you some money. It's just money, or I'll go take you and buy you some food, whatever. Meet me over at that restaurant, I'll buy you some food. But I pull into the gas station and there's this woman sitting in her car. This happened to me just last week. Woman sitting like with her car door open, and then there's a dude on the other side, and then I pull up in my car, and then she walks around and says, "Sir, can you help me? We need some money for gas." What's that joker doing? No, I ain't giving you, no. N-O, no. K-N-O-W, no. N-O, it's a 2-letter word. What part you having a hard time with? No. Got some sorry joker sitting over there in the car, and then he's gonna send a woman to ask me for some money. If I ever send my wife to ask you for some money, come hit me in my head with something hard. No, I'm not giving you any money. Go ask that sorry joker over there in your car for some money. Anyway, I don't have any opinions. If I did, I wouldn't voice them publicly. All rich people. all rich people are greedy. All rich people are not greedy. I know so many generous rich people, it's not even funny. And I think, in fact, the most generous people I know are rich people. Like, the most generous people I know in my life are rich people. I think about my dear friend, he's now my dear friend, David Mitchell. He was a businessman, Sunday school teacher, youth director. Had this 16-year-old girl in his youth department. And he was wealthy, he was well off, businessman, in his 20s. Paid for her to go to college, where she met me and became my wife. Rich people are greedy. I remember when I was an evangelist traveling around the country in an old motorhome. We needed new tires. This dude single-handedly supported my ministry for almost a year. What? Rich people are greedy? You know the wrong rich people. Or you just know the only rich people you know are the ones you saw on TV. They ain't real rich people anyway. I mean, they're rich in real life, but the part they're playing, that's not a real story. It's a fable. It's a story. They're called actors for a reason. I think about Ben, my friend Ben, when I was in multi-level marketing, and I was not well off. I lived in a house that I bought at the tax sale for $200, spent 8 years renovating it while I was living in it, right? So, like, I've had all those experiences. And I was broke, and I was struggling, and I was in this multi-level marketing company, and my upline, Ben, he was making like $90,000 a month. He gave me $7,000 and said, "You don't have to pay me back." All rich people are greedy? Tell somebody that who's willing to believe it. I ain't that person. And then the last lie, life is hard and things are expensive. So, the law of polarity states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every positive, there's a negative. Every negative, there's a positive. So guess what that means? That means if life is hard, it's also easy. Did I say that too fast? If life is hard, it's also easy. Have you ever eaten a one-sided piece of bread? No. One-sided pancake? Uh-uh. Have you ever flipped a one-sided coin? Nope. Have you ever been in a one-sided situation? Nope. Why? Because it cannot exist. It's impossible for anything to exist with only one side. Here's the problem. Like, I'm gonna tell you what your real problem is. You've been programmed to look at the wrong side your entire life. You're so focused on what's missing, you miss what's there. By the way, that was the first temptation in the history of the world. The very first temptation in the history of the world was the temptation to focus on lack. Why? Because Satan knew, one, where attention goes, intention follows, and number two, if you're focused on lack, you have to ignore your abundance. God said to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. Every tree freely eat. Every tree freely eat. Every and freely. It does not get any more abundant than every for free. You can have everything for free. That's pretty abundant. But there's one thing you can't have. So there's only one thing they lack. They had everything but one thing. And Satan got their attention off of all that they had and got them focused on the one thing they didn't have. And when they focused on what was missing, they lost what was available. When you focus on your lack, you miss your abundance. And I know that sounds all woo-woo to somebody, but I'm telling you, if the lack is there, the abundance is there. The reason you can't see it is because you can't see it. Go read the story about Hagar. She's out in the desert. She runs out of water. She runs out of bread. She lifts up her voice and she starts crying. And the angel of the Lord calls on her and says, "What aileth thee, Hagar?" She's in the desert. She don't have this much water, and she's in the desert. You don't have that much water. She got a little boy with her. He don't have any water. She don't have any water. She didn't want to see him die. She put him in the shade and then went away from him and just wept. Angel of the Lord said, "Hagar, what aileth thee?" Oh, fear not, Hagar. God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. While she was crying, he was praying. And then it says, and God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and took the water and gave the lad drink. Well, if God opened her eyes and she saw the well of water, what does that tell you? The well of water was already there. It didn't say God digged a well of water. It said he opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. Isn't it interesting that she couldn't see the water in front of her eyes because of the water that was in her eyes? And see, we're so focused on what's missing, we miss what's there. Life is so hard. Well, if it's hard, it's easy. And you're so zoned into the hard part, you're missing the easy part. Stuff is just so expensive. Not to me, it's not. Everything costs the same amount. This building cost me the same amount as this little box of Tic Tacs. This big $90,000 LED wall behind me cost me no more than this. These chairs cost no more than this. That car out there, you say, why you keep shaking that? So it can lock into your memory bank. It all costs the same amount. The reason poor people think everything is expensive is because they bought into the first lie and the second lie. And they pay for everything with money they've exchanged their time for. So they feel like they're paying for everything with their life because they are. I don't pay for things with money I exchange my time for. You know how I pay for things? I pay for things with offers. I offer somebody something they want more than they want the money, and they pay me. And so I made an offer to pay for these Tic Tacs, and I made an offer to pay for this building, and I made an offer to pay for this iPhone, and I made an offer to pay for this bottle of water, and I made an offer to pay for this, and I made an offer to pay for that, and I made an offer to pay for all these monitors y'all see around here, and these $20,000 worth of lights. 5 lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $20,000. Paid for it with offers, cost the same amount as this. I'm telling you, if you change your focus, you change your experience of life. Those are 6 lies that will keep you broke and stuck. Don't buy the lie. It costs too much. Stay blessed by the best. I hope this video helps you. God bless.